Right Stew podcast. I'm Paul Stewart.
And I am Brian Wright.
Together we're the Right Stew podcast. Brian, here we are. It's Friday, December 20th. We've got Indiana versus Notre Dame tonight. The college football playoff is finally here. We've been waiting decades for this, Brian, our whole lives, right? We did the whole bowl game breakdown on our longer pod this week. It's finally here. Indiana versus Notre Dame, the first one. How excited are you for this playoff?
Oh, dude, I'm stoked. I mean, the reality is I would watch this game, and this would have been a playoff game. I mean, it'd been a bowl game regardless, because Indiana had a phenomenal year. Notre Dame had a solid year, minus their one little hiccup. So, dude, I'm stoked. I mean, not a dog in the fight. It's hard not to like, Cincinnati and Indiana and their story and Notre Dame's historic. So it's hard not to like the matchup in itself. They're obviously pretty close to each other geography-wise. Should be interesting.
Yeah, really kind of interesting and fun. I'm sure the state of Indiana is just going absolutely bonkers right now. Clearly the two biggest schools in the state, right? And just the tradition of South Bend, Touchdown Jesus, the gold helmets, the whole thing. And then Indiana, they've been a program, but everybody knows them more for basketball, right? With Bobby Knight and a long history of basketball success.
Throwing chairs.
Yeah, whipping chairs across the court. So really exciting times. So Notre Dame goes in as a 6.5-point favorite. Do you like that, or do you think they'll cover? What do you think about that?
I don't know. The reality is Notre Dame, I mean, they played a decent schedule. I think that they've beaten Louisville. Their best win, obviously, is Texas A&M at the beginning of the year, which you don't really know. I feel like that first game, almost like any sport, is kind of a learning about your own team as much as you're learning about the opponent that you're getting ready to play. And so you throw that one out. And, outside of Texas A&M, Notre Dame's schedule has been almost like an ACC schedule. Hey, the question I have, Paul, what is a Hoosier? I mean, have we gotten to a point to where, what is a Hoosier?
So my son actually asked this a few weeks ago. We were watching the Ohio State Indiana game, and he said, "Dad, what is a Hoosier?" And I was like, I don't know. Like, I think it's. I said somebody.
There's no mascot for a Hoosier, right?
I don't know. I don't know what their mascot is. Yeah, I think it's somebody from Indiana. That's what I know as a Hoosier. But we looked it up, and they said it was actually dating back to like the pioneer days when people were trying to come through the land, and they said they would say who's here to kind of announce themselves to people in the area or in a cabin, and who's here kind of turned into who's here, Hoosier, like that sort of thing. It kind of became that's what I read. That's what I told my son. So he believes that is gospel truth now. So that's what I know it to be.
So we got Indiana people versus Irish people, right?
Fighting Irish people.
Fighting Irish, which I feel like Irish and fighting kind of goes hand in hand, right? I mean, you think about that. Fighting culture, which I'm good with. Just based on those descriptions, any idea? I mean, who are you picking, whether it be the Hoosiers or the Fighting Irish? If we're talking about actual football, who are you picking?
If I'm picking football, I think I'm taking Notre Dame. I like the home field advantage. I think that's a big part of this first round and really exciting. Again, the people of South Bend have to just be stoked about this being there and playing the additional game and moving on to whatever's next. I think Notre Dame's probably a little more battle tested. Indiana had the one game against Ohio State this year. They played decent in the first half, and then Ohio State just kind of overmatched them, overpowered them, and pulled away towards the end. So I'm picking Notre Dame to win.
Awesome. I'm gonna go underdog. I think Indiana. I think that coach is an excellent coach. They're giving 6.5 points to Indiana, which really means 3.5 because you get 3 just for playing on the road. And Cincinnati, I think he's one of those guys. You give him a bunch of time, he's going to have some ways. So I'm going Indiana.
Yeah. All right. So we're split on that. And we'll come back tomorrow with more picks on the remainder of the first round of the CFP games. All right. So Brian and I, if you can't imagine, we text quite a bit during the day for various reasons. And he sent me this video yesterday.
Yes.
And we're going to share it on our YouTube. I'm going to try to describe what it is, but we'll have it on the YouTube channel. It's a guy who says he does hand wrestling,
Yes.
and I saw the headline or the thumbnail. And I thought it was like he would be thumb wrestling himself.
Right.
But to describe it for our listeners, he essentially throws his hands together and starts just beating himself up just with his hands, like forearms, hands, wrists.
That's
It is
ridiculous.
wild.
It's ridiculous.
And he is on what looks like a legitimate program of some sort. So we'll give credit. It's vaudeville on Instagram. Never seen it before, never heard of it. But we're going to share this clip and show it right now. And Brian and I are just going to kind of react to it and watch it. So this might be the next fad in sports. If you've got kids who you're looking for scholarship opportunities, as a kid, I never thought gaming would be a scholarship opportunity, right?
That's
All those
fair.
years playing Tecmo Bowl.
This might be a step down.
It's a step down and below the surface of wherever you're at. But you know what? Dumber things have happened in my lifetime. And I'm gonna pull up the video. Give me a second.
So your hands wrestle one another, and you don't know which one's going to win when you do this, right?
I put my mind elsewhere. I let my hands decide who's going to dominate.
Wow. Please, let's see this. This sounds very engaging.
So Brian, first of all, thank you for sending that to me. And that's the second time I've watched it now. The guy's just a maniac. I mean, right hand, left hand. He said he was left-handed, and that one usually wins, which 13% of the population is left-handed. So that's a little unique there. But I saw the right hand looked like it just was holding really steady and had control of the match the entire time. What did you notice, Brian?
Well, I'm impressed with him able to put his mind completely out of his body. Right. I feel like that's kind of the new age.
That's next level.
And so then you just let the best hand win. I had done some further research on this, and he did a best 2 out of 3, and the left hand won 2 out of 3. And so it feels like the lefty, is dominating. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to take anybody by storm. I think the people that were sitting there not dying laughing.
Here's the thing. On that clip, Darrell Hammond, I didn't realize this the first time. Darrell Hammond from Saturday Night Live was sitting on the couch. Did you know that? Do you know who that is?
I know who it is, but I did not.
He was on Saturday Night Live. He was in a bunch of movies. He was kind of a bit parts, and he was on a lot of TV shows. But a very famous. I mean, if you're on Saturday Night Live, you're one of the funniest people in the world, and you're really famous. He was sitting on that couch, and I don't know if Darrell was like, man, I'm sure he's seen some stuff, but
it's unusual, unappreciated talents. I think kind of is what that show. I clicked on a couple other things just to go down the rabbit hole. I didn't know if he had anybody that he competed against besides himself with the hand deal.
Well, that would just be fighting. Just slap fighting.
So there's some bad singing on that. There's some bad. I heard a bird call that kind of sounded like a blue jay. It wasn't. You definitely get dumber by watching that.
Well, then I started thinking, like, what if he's wearing sleeves or no sleeves? Does that affect the outcome? Does he get a compression sleeve on one hand, not on the other?
It feels like grip would have an impact.
Gloves? Can you wear gloves? I mean, there's lots of avenues we could go down here. So, Thanks for enjoying that with us, folks.
There probably will be no more of that, because if there is, we stoop to a whole new level. We're not even sure where we're going to, but it's like self-arm hand fighting. Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah, good stuff. So last thing to touch on today, went to a Christmas concert last night for my daughter, first grade. So we were at the elementary school. And a lot of observations going on. First, I think it was the first time in a long time that I've been to one of my kids' events, whether it's theatrical, athletic, that I didn't have to pay to get in to see.
Yeah.
That was really nice. So thank you for that. Second, it was a packed house.
Yeah.
No, I had to standing room only for this. You know, caroling and singing. Third, the only song that I recognized that they sang, because they were doing songs from around the globe, or there was some sort of theme, right? They sang. There was a song about Tenenbaum pickle or something. Apparently it was
Not
German.
familiar.
German. Maybe. Anyway, the song they sang that I knew was "Deck the Halls." Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Fa la la
La,
la.
la, 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 la. Yeah, I didn't know.
So
I didn't know. Sorry.
so they changed one of the lyrics, which I thought was interesting. So it's Don we now our gay apparel. Fa la 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 la. They changed it to Don we now our glad apparel.
Happy you got clothes? Yeah.
It's 2024. I don't know. I don't know what if it's good, bad. I don't think it's not used in a derogatory way. It's just the name of the song. But
Yeah.
so
The lyrics within it. Yeah, it feels like there could be some discrimination there.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting into that, but just an observation. We're not trying to get canceled before we get started, Brian. Okay.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
One of the other things I noticed, a lot of bad camera work. So from my vantage point, a lot of people holding the camera horizontal, but you could tell it was definitely still recording vertically. I know you can flip it with editing. A lot of zooming and zooming out. A lot of long videos of like people videoing like 5 minutes. Like I don't know what you're going to do with that. Hopefully, there's a lot of content creators out there and they're doing something fun with it. And then one guy in the back just light, just flashlight, camera light on the entire time, recording like the whole thing. And I was like, "Hey, buddy, I don't think that light's doing a whole lot from you, like
No,
90
not.
feet away
I mean, it's kind of a like back in the day, you would see like one or two people
Oh,
like
the big cameras
gigantic
with the
video
shoulder, yeah.
cameras. I don't know. It's almost too much. It's too much.
A
Like
lot.
just enjoy the moment. Don't worry so
Yeah.
much about looking back at the moment. Enjoy
So there
the
was-
moment.
There
Yeah.
was a game in high school. So my wife played high school basketball, was really good, and her dad had one of the old school, cameras on your shoulder. And one game he accidentally turned the light on, and it was on. And it was really bright. This was a pretty nice camera, and he literally had to stop the game to tell him
Tell him to turn it off.
to turn it off. Yeah, but overall, man, really good time. It was fun being at a performance. And this was actually the same gym that my little brother performed in like 35 years ago, and a notorious like Stewart family story where he was on the top row, but not really singing, just like mimicking the words and acting goofy, and just a fun story. So fun being back in the same gym, fun seeing all the festivities. And we talked a little bit about it yesterday too, just being in elementary school and having fun. And so good time overall, but some definite observations going on there. But all right, that's all we got for you today. We were kind of all over the map. Brian's going to go start working on, tell your kids, forget lacrosse, forget baseball, forget dancing.
Arm fighting.
Or just get. So we're going to work on that. Hope you guys enjoy that game tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow with more CFP predictions on the rest of the games.
Awesome. Out. Go Pack.